All right, so we are here for the third day of live Q&As as a launch for the YouTube channel. And today we had an awesome question come in from Oscar. And we have 1,180 responses now in a couple of days to this question. So that's awesome. And he basically asked, should I do original music or covers? Another way of thinking about this question that I hear a lot is, should I write music that's mostly for me, or should I think about how to do it in a commercial way that's for the masses that people are going to enjoy if I want to have a successful music career? Is it possible to do both, or do I have to choose one or the other? How should I make that decision? It's a great question. And like a lot of questions, the answer is that it depends on you and it depends on your goals, right? So are you making music just as a hobby? Is it something that you just want to do for your own enjoyment and you don't care about anyone else hearing it or listening to it? In which case, you don't have to worry at all about other people and how it's going to be received. And music's a huge gift, right? And if you enjoy doing it, then of course, you don't have to think about writing music for other people at all. But what I will say is life is a lot more fulfilling when you're doing things that are so that you can contribute and you can connect with other people. And I think your music is really one of the best examples of that. Like you being able to share and express yourself and share it with the right people who also resonate with that. It's one of life's greatest blessings. So in my opinion, you almost always want to think about other people and what you're doing right now, is it contributing to other people, and how can you connect with other people? And so in short, the way that I would recommend thinking about this question of, okay, should I write music for the masses or commercial that I think is going to be successful, or should I write music for myself? I think there is actually a sweet spot where it's the best of both worlds, where you don't want to write music that isn't authentic to you, that you don't believe in, that you don't appreciate, that you don't enjoy, because you think that someone else is going to enjoy it. Because first of all, it's a lot less likely that you're going to be successful doing that, because you're personally not going to enjoy it, and people are probably going to sense the fact that it doesn't feel authentic. It's not as good. And then what could happen is, if somehow you do have a hit, or you're successful, or like you have this music that doesn't represent you, now you're boxed into this persona that doesn't reflect you, that it's almost like you've attracted the wrong people. What was it? Dr. Seuss said something along the lines of, be who you are and say what you feel, because the people who care don't matter, and the people who don't care. I butchered the quote. You guys can Google it. It's on Google, right? The Dr. Seuss quote was like, be who you are, say what you feel, because the people who care don't matter, and the people who matter don't care. There we go. And so the analogy that I like to use to think about this is, you're starting with a big ice block and you want to kind of chisel it into a beautiful sculpture. And it's not necessarily about being something that you're not, right? Like when you chisel the ice block into something new, like you're not creating something different. It's like you're actually chiseling what's already there, and you're just turning it into a beautiful sculpture. And so that's how I would lean into your original music. You want to lean into the parts of who you are that are valuable to other people, the things that kind of stand out, the things that they resonate with. And sometimes when you're just starting out, you might not know what are those things, but through the process of releasing more music, you'll see that there's certain parts of your songs, or certain things you've leaned into that resonate with people and that kind of take off. So for example, I know with Paradise Fears, one of the biggest kind of unique edges, or the thing that kind of stood out, was the spoken word segments that our lead singer would do during the songs. So we had a song called Sanctuary that had like a spoken word segment, happened about 2/3 of the way through the song. And we had a song called Battle Scars, and those were our most popular songs. And I think Battle Scars had somewhere between 5 to 10 million streams, and Sanctuary is in the millions of streams. And it wasn't until in hindsight that we realized, that's interesting. All of our most popular songs, they have this like inspirational spoken word segment that our lead singer does. I read an article at one point that talked about the quote unquote viral formula. And psychologically, what makes something go viral, what they found is that these viral posts tend to have two characteristics. One is that they had something that was familiar about that piece of content. So something that everyone could relate to. But then the second thing is that it had a unique twist, or had something that was unexpected or went down like a different path. And so I think that the viral formula is really a mixture of familiar plus unique. So it's like doing something that people can relate to, or like, oh, like I recognize this, but then it twists, it does something unique or different in a way that breaks expectations and does something new. And that's why if you're doing a cover song, for example, if you cover a really popular song, then it has the familiar aspect to it because a lot of people are listening to it right now. There's a trending song, it's familiar, but if there's not anything unique about it, then our brains just ignore it because it's okay, that's just a slightly worse version of the original thing. But if you add in that unique aspect of it where you create this twist or you do something unexpected, that can tap into that viral mechanism where now it's like, wow, I recognize the song, but man, they covered it in such a unique way. This is like, they changed the vibe completely. They changed the chord structure and they added this thing I wasn't expecting. And that's a mechanism that allows people to share it because now they're sharing it with their friends who recognize it. So, oh, wow, I recognize that thing, but this is interesting. This is different. I just saw this a couple days ago. There's a girl who went on stage at America's Got Talent, and she's an adorable little like 9-year-old girl. They brought the dad up to sit at the judge's table, and they're like, all right, show us what you got, little girl. And then she comes out on stage and she's like, she starts like screaming and doing like death metal, like heavy metal, like cover song. And everyone was like, whoa, was not expecting that. That kind of blew my mind, but she was pretty good. And if someone had come up on stage and they were someone that essentially looked like a heavy metal, death metal singer, and they came up and they were like, rah! Then they probably wouldn't have made it to the next stage unless they were like, did something crazy or did something way different. But because she broke expectations. Like people were thinking like this little girl was going to sing something different, but then she did the screaming. That kind of had that viral formula to it. I also think that it lies at the root of why certain styles of music go quote unquote viral. A lot of times new waves of music, they come when there's a fusion of two different styles of music that's familiar because people are like, wow, like I recognize, like, but I've never heard anything quite like this before because they've had a baby and now it's something new. And so when you're creating your music, if you really want to give yourself the best odds of reaching as many people as possible and making as big of a positive impact as possible with your songs, while at the same time doing something that's authentic to you that you actually enjoy, you want to figure out what is it that you currently do that is unique, that can break the mold, and how do you combine that with something that is trending right now, something that's familiar. So if you can keep your fingers on the pulse of what is working right now, right? What's the current wave, and you can catch it, then you can gain a lot of momentum. Which kind of leads me to a second analogy that I like to think about when it comes to this idea of plugging into what's trending right now. We're all a function of the world as it is in its current state, and the universe, really. Like it's all coming to a point right now, and there's momentum, there's waves, there's energy that's going already. And it's like we're surfers trying to catch waves. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see is trying to catch a wave that's already passed 10 or 20 years ago because it was successful in the past. It's really easy to see in hindsight, oh, wow, this person did this thing 20 years ago, and so now I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to expect the same results. But the truth is, like, a lot of times that's a wave that's already passed, and so the momentum isn't quite there anymore. And so if you can spend a lot of time and energy trying to catch up to this wave that's already passed. But instead, if you look at what a good surfer does, they'll kind of look behind them, they'll feel the waves, they'll say, okay, what's trending right now? What's an upcoming wave that's about to crest? And they'll swim along with that wave so that as it passes, if you catch it at the right point, you can get this huge burst of momentum that shoots you forward because you had a little bit of foresight to see what's the upcoming trend, what's the upcoming wave. And so you see this with a lot of successful musicians, is that they're not trying to catch a wave that's already passed. They actually are trendsetters. They're feeling the waves as they are right now, and they're trying to align with those waves at the same time. And so that's a familiar aspect. And you can look at Billboard Top 100, you can look at different charts, different categories, and no matter what kind of music you make, I'm sure that you can find a trending category of music that has a momentum, that has wave right now that you can plug into. And There's a lot of different applications of this, and it's not just music, but you'll see a lot of the most successful, or at least the people that have the biggest audiences, they have some sort of mechanism where they're talking about the current events and current topics or the current trending things. And they're doing reaction videos based on the things that are currently happening. And so they're doing this as a way to plug into that current meta, that current wave that's happening, but add your own unique twist to it as well. The truth is, you're a unique reflection of your own perspective. No one else has your experience. No one else has what it is that makes you you. And so if you bring that to what's current, what's trending right now, and you share a reflection of it, then you'll tend to attract the people who also resonate with that quote unquote frequency, so that they resonate with who you are. Albert Einstein said, everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then it could grow up its whole life thinking that it's dumb. And it's so true. And we tend to underestimate our own genius because we're so close to it. If you want to reach as many people as possible and you want to grow an audience and you want to have a sustainable income from your music, you do want to focus on what is going to connect with as many people as possible. Who are the right people? The people who are actually going to resonate with it. And out of the billions of people in the world, I guarantee you that you can find at least 1,000 true fans who actually resonate with you and resonate with your music. It's just a matter of finding those people. And with the tools that exist nowadays with targeting on Instagram and Facebook ads and YouTube and Google, you absolutely can find those people. I know a lot of artists, they resist the idea of doing covers because they want to make original music that reflects them, and they feel like doing cover songs might put them in a category of, oh, we're a cover artist, and it really means that people don't really appreciate like my music. For me, I think that there's a way to do it that allows you to grow your audience and promote your original music at the same time as the cover songs, as long as you use them intentionally, and as long as you're doing cover songs that kind of have that viral formula built into it, where the unique part of what you're offering is your sound. So if you think about what's my sound, and then you think about maybe some complementary, if you ask yourself, what are some styles of music that I like, that I enjoy, that people would be really surprised by? They might not realize that I geek out about this kind of music. And then you go to that genre and you take what are the most popular songs right now, or at least songs that people would recognize, the most successful songs, and then do a cover of those songs, but doing it in your style, like doing it in your genre that's different from the original genre. That might be the kind of thing that can trigger that viral formula. And it might be a good way to, one, create unique content that people actually resonate with. They're like, wow, this is cool. I want to share this. And when people listen to it, if they vibe with your style of music, which is actually like the style that you perform the song in, then they'll probably like your original music as well. All right, so that's a long-winded answer to your question, but hopefully that's helpful, Oscar. And I want to bring you on here, so if you have a follow-up question, if you want to ask, then we can answer that for you.
I think it was wonderful what you said. It's very helpful. I'm a late bloomer. I started in music 12 years ago, and I'm a real estate agent. So I've been composing, and the thing is that I devoted to this totally, and I got nowhere. In terms of, let's say, how I can derive my income from music. I think it's all marketing that can give you some light at the end of the tunnel and can help you achieve what you want. I got into music because I have a story to tell. And if I say it through Frank Sinatra songs, I won't tell my story. I'm going to tell somebody else's story. That is, it's a marketing challenge. How can I see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Yeah, so basically it sounds like you're just wondering, right now you've put a lot into the music and you're really looking for light at the end of the tunnel. It's not generating revenue. You're doing like Frank Sinatra covers, and you want to tell your own. You want to tell your story.
I never perform with my music, for example. I should be doing that. I'm in the United States and I'm a Latin. Let's say my music is Latin, but there's a lot of Hispanics here that could hear my music, and I could.
Absolutely. So here's my answer for you there. One, I think that the light at the end of the tunnel is actually like that light is here right now, and that light is like inside of you, and you already have that light. It's who you are. Like that light is with you, and you can let that broadcast. You can express that, and in terms of marketing your music and switching and being able to share your original music and connect with people using that original music. You're telling your story and you're not necessarily telling someone else's story. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. And throughout the course of this 30-day Q&A, I'm sure that we'll talk about some of the strategies for connecting, finding with the right people who are most likely to resonate with your songs. We also have a free course that's coming out on YouTube. At the time, if people are watching this, they might actually have access to it right now. But this basically walks through our entire methodology and the 5 steps to create original music and get it heard by the right people and to monetize it and actually have a sustainable income with your music. So that free course is coming out on YouTube, so you can look forward to checking that out, and I think that'll help a lot. But to answer your question, I think that your original music, I would start by making a big list of all the similar artists that you think might have fans who would like your music too. Maybe it's Frank Sinatra. If you're doing your original songs in a Frank Sinatra style and then you create something kind of new, but that's one of the influences, then you might target people who are fans of Frank Sinatra and send them to your original music. And then from there, I would have conversations with as many of those people as possible. So the people who are fans of Frank Sinatra or whatever the artists are, so you might make a list of your top 10 influences who have fans who might like your music too. And then you want to basically introduce yourself to those people and start building a relationship. So you might look at who follows those profiles on social media. You could reach out and build a relationship there, or you could set up an automated system to like get your music in front of those people who are fans of those artists and start having conversations with them. And
You just listed like 10 things that require skills and knowledge about how to use the social media, which is something that I'm having a challenge with to learn how to do that. It's social media platforms. I have failed miserably.
So first of all, you're not alone. Yeah, I think that a lot of these social media platforms are changing quickly, and there's a lot of people, like, we feel overwhelmed with what should we be using it for, how do we use this effectively, and especially if we're not very tech savvy, then that might be a challenge. What I can say though is that it's definitely something you can learn. It's a skill that you can develop if it's important to you, and I think it's a worthwhile skill. And and it kind of goes back to the day one of this YouTube challenge, surrounding yourself with the right people and surrounding yourself, finding the right mentor that's going to basically show you how to do that. There's a lot. You could probably Google like how to grow my music with social media and have some people come up as well. We have a free course that we're going to be putting out on YouTube that is going to walk you through how to do what we just talked about. Or you can also invest in like a team that's going to help do this together with you. We have done for you sessions where with our team, we basically like hop on a one-on-one session with you and get your system set up for you so that you can just make music and get it in front of people.
Yeah, you have all the tools. I just don't have the money, but I'll get there, I guess.
Yep. So this deserves a video in and of itself. And so this will be one we'll definitely record one for. But yeah, I think that there's two things you can invest. First of all, you don't get something from nothing. Like we talked about the tree analogy, like the tree doesn't just magically grow. You have to plant the seed, and you have to invest, and you have to nurture the soil. It has to have water in order for it to grow. So what can you invest? If you don't have money, then I think there's two things you can invest. You can invest your time, and you can invest your money. And I think that long term, the people who become wealthy are the people who learn how to invest money in order to save time. If you can invest money to save time, your time is way more precious than your money, right? Like time doesn't necessarily come back. But if you learn how to, maybe short term, if you don't have money, then you have to figure out, okay, how can I trade my time for a little bit of money? And then as you get that money, then you need to think about, how do I invest this money to buy me back time? Where can I invest and over time, you think about using that top 3 system as well. That's going to help you prioritize as well. And you want to prioritize things that are going to, 1, save you time and energy, and 2, that are going to save you money or make you money in the long term. That's why I think one of the best things you can invest in is yourself and your business. Like your business, if you invest in your business in the right way, then it literally generates money for you, and it allows you to have more freedom to be able to invest more of your time doing what you want. That's one of the beautiful things about being an entrepreneur and living in the place that we live, is that we have freedom. We have freedom to essentially figure out how can we provide value, how can we have a successful business. And it doesn't necessarily happen overnight, but you can either invest your time or invest your money. And so if you don't have money to invest, then I would recommend saving up. Like save up money or invest your time. You can get creative. With Paradise Fears, we didn't have any money when we started, and we lived in our van. We slept in Walmart parking lots. We ate peanut butter tortillas, and we invested 10 years of our life to figure out what doesn't work and what worked for us. And you can either invest your time, you can invest your money, but also I think you being here right now and asking these questions shows that you're the kind of person who right now you're investing your time. Like you being here right now is one of the best investments that you can make because you're investing in yourself, in your education and learning. And so, I want to honor you for being here. And I totally can relate with the challenge, the struggle of feeling like.
Well, thank you. Thank
it's
you so
overwhelming
much
and
for
stuff.
devoting the time, and it means a lot. Because
Yeah.
you feel very alone in this process. Yeah, so
Yeah, you're not
It's
alone,
great.
my man. Yeah, I'm
Great,
pretty sure when
big.
you talked, like 10 people were like, "Yep," like I could relate that. We've all been there. So, thank you for sharing. So let's go ahead and let's wrap up for the day. So this was day 3 of the 30 days of Q&A. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, then in the show notes, if you have a question that you'd like to have answered, you can submit it. You can also come on here live. If you submit a question, then we actually have a live Zoom call that we're doing these, so you can actually come on live to ask your question. And until next time,
wonderful. Thank you so much.